start with Dyson.
I've read a lot lately. I'm not a facilities expert by any means, but read a lot lately, heard a lot lately that our facilities are not adequate. And then you have to define the word adequate. Can we still have kids go into these buildings and sit down and learn something? Yes. But we have had experts come here and look through our buildings, and especially I'm thinking of Mill Stream 3 coordinates right now, and we're told while the programs are wonderful, the teaching is wonderful, there are things that can't do because of the limitations of the facilities. We have some very old buildings, Washington, Lincoln, Central's pretty old, although I went to high school there, I don't think you guys being old. But we do have some old buildings too, and with the flooding we've had recently, I think those older buildings have suffered more seriously than even some of the newer buildings. So I guess the answer to the questions, I don't believe they're adequate in the next 5 years. I always go with a plan, and as of yet, we don't have a business plan. We're doing a lot of exploratory work, and I would hate to see us just dive in to do something because it can be done now. I would rather see a comprehensive plan and perhaps involve the community and many outside resources, maybe consultants. And again, I'm talking in a realm that is not my realm of expertise. But that would make sense to me to have a lot of involvement with staff and administrators to take a full look at the whole system before deciding to change facilities. So I certainly think over the next 5 years, I do hope we come up with a plan to upgrade and improve.
How would we go that?
I think our facilities basically are adequate. I think we have a problem at Washington. That problem should have been addressed several years ago, and it hasn't been addressed yet. I think we have a problem at Central, but I think we have a problem at Central for only one reason. That building, according to the architects that we talked to the last time we tried to pass the bond issue here, has a great number of years still left in it. The building was well put together, it's still well put together, and if we're going to move out of it, I think we should have been doing a selling job already with some of the government agencies here in the city of Findlay. We know that the county's looking for a place to move, we know the city's looking for a place to move, and there's plenty of room in that building for somebody to move into. But to the best of my knowledge, we haven't tried to convince anybody that that's what they should do. I guess my problem is that when you're spending $50-some million on personnel and personnel retirement, you run out of money someplace down the line. And you're going to have to go back to the people to get more money. And I'm not saying that the people won't. They always have. There have been very few times that they didn't. But what I'm saying is that I would rather see the money spent where I think it would do the most good. Where do I think it would do the most good? Teachers. I'm not sure that we're structured properly. I know this is an enrichment program seminar, and I appreciate that fact, but I think the enrichment should start in the lower grades. What happened to kindergarten, all-day kindergarten, which we started back a little bit with this year? What happens with more teachers in the first and second grade? If you're going to have smaller classes, you need smaller classes at the lower level. You got to build the foundation before you put a house on top of it. I never knew a building to teach a kid. It takes teachers, and if you're going to hire more teachers and you're going to have smaller classes, you're going to have to hire more teachers, then I think that's the place to spend the money. I think we need to have a good foundation for the young people that are coming into the school system today. We just shouldn't be starting with them in the 9th, 10th, or 11th grade and finding out that when I moved into the junior high for 1 year, it was a junior high then, 70% of my 9th grade class could not read. Now that's back then. And according to what I hear, we're not that much better now. No, sir.
Mark?
I think probably the main thing with our facilities is the local state of Washington School. I understand that both Washington and Lincoln were due to be renovated several years ago. Lincoln, I understand, is beautiful, but Washington, my son went to FABS at Washington School the very first year, and that was 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and it was not in good shape then. So that's one thing that I think if it is able to be renovated, that needs to be a priority. The other thing is, I talked with a few retired school administrators, and when you talk about thinking out of the box, when we talk about the situation with Central and what to do with Central Middle School, and both of my children went there, I do think that Central's a big part of downtown, and I would hate to see Central. An administrator that I talked with said, broached the topic of what if Glenwood, with the adjacent land that the school system owns, became a 7th and 8th grade school, and what if Donnell became a 6th grade school, and Central were used for administrative offices on the 2nd floor, perhaps the digital academy, and alternative schooling down on the lower floors. This would keep, and it's been one of my concerns, I think, that if we build an East Side middle school, that it would economically stratify our population. You have the lower income kids going to Glenwood and lower income kids going out east. So that would eliminate that problem with the 7th and 8th grade school. And the third thing, I think, is the fact of Mill Stream being consolidated in one building and offering an attractive vocational program for students.
In regards to facilities, first of all, we have great programs inside that facility. I would agree with the other candidates. There's good, solid teaching going inside the building, but our buildings do need to be addressed. And the community tried that a couple years ago, and for lots of reasons, they did not. The middle school levies did not pass. What has transpired between that time and now is we haven't really forgotten about the buildings and the needs for them, but we also had to get our house in order financially internally. We had to pass some levies, and we've done that. We've also had the opportunity to pass a PI levy last year that's going to create about $1.8 million of funds that will be able to not only help the buildings, but will also buy technology and other things that go inside that building. So now we have that foundation, we have that money. Prior to that, that money was coming out of our operating budget. In regards to the building, Barb hit on a couple key points. Washington's very key right now. We are in the process of applying for some funds to the High School Facility Commission. It's called the Act of God Fund. There's approximately $15 million out in the city of Ohio that could come to our district, and Washington is one of the fulcrum points of what can we do with Washington. So the school boards will be looking at that in the near future. Also, I don't disagree with Mill Stream. Mill Stream is a place where we are on 3 different campuses. Those campuses is just south of this building, in this building, and in an old elementary building on the east side. If we get that under one roof, we could potentially be almost freeing up 2.5 buildings worth of space that would allow us to convert Mill Stream South, the old bank, Ben Franklin, potentially into a new, or put it back into an elementary building. Again, this is also something that the community is going to have to decide on. Do they want to do that? So there are some opportunities. But I think in the long term, we have to go back and focus on the facilities. We have to get the community buy-in. We have to get a long-term study and long-range planning put back together and put that on our table for next year.